some wild king salmon out of Alaska. It's a troll king. You know, one of the things that we're going to look for is to make sure we got nice clear eyes and the belly is nice and clean. Flip this thing over. Make sure the other side looks just as good. Make sure there's no dents or bruising. And then we're going to break this baby down. So we're going to just cut this right underneath the collar right there. Okay, and then we cut right through the collar. And then what I like to do is I like to flip the fish around. And then I'm going to put my knife right on the edge of the spine bones. Slide it right down. Beautiful, look at the color. That's nice color. No splits in the flesh. Looks nice. Voila. Beautiful, look at that. But what I also like to do is, you know, sometimes I don't get it as perfect as I like to get it and get all the fish off of it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to scrape down the bone. And that's going to give me all that meat that got left behind. And what we can do with all this extra meat that some folks just throw away is we're going to chop it all up really good. And we're going to add some ginger and cilantro and some garlic and some fresh herbs, and we're going to make little salmon burgers out of this. And then if we've got a bunch of these, we'll hang on to them, and then we can make a stock out of that. We can make a nice soup and hold on to that. Okay. And then with the fish laying nice and flat, there's a line of bones that come up the belly right there. I'm going to get my knife under the edge of the first bones. It's important to have a nice sharp knife. You want to make one nice clean swipe of it. Voila. And we're going to pull this right off. And it really doesn't get too much better than that. That is a beautiful, nice colored, red, perfect piece of fish. And then we flip this baby back over and we're going at the pin bones. Just regular old pliers. And it's a process that's usually not the fun process, but it's certainly worth doing it right. Notice how we're pulling it out towards me. These are tough little buggers. They should be visible. And the trick with pin boning is when you get the fish, you got to get it set up so the angle of the pin bones are towards you. Put a notch at the tail end of this fish, just enough to get to the skin side. And we're just going to angle our knives so it's just barely rubbing on the skin. That way we're not leaving any of the flesh. We broke down the wild king salmon, pin boned it, I skinned it, and we're ready to put it on the planks. First thing we're going to do is lay one of these beautiful fillets right down there on the plank. I made a rub. This rub consists of brown sugar, garlic, dried dill, and kosher salt. Very simple, adds a really nice flavor to it. Also the sugars kind of caramelize onto the salmon as it's roasting over the coals. Just going to just liberally rub this salmon down. And you want to do this just before that you're ready to put the fish onto the grill. Otherwise the sugar will start to melt and run off the sides. And I prepared the cedar plank with some basic standard nails from the hardware store. So it's a nice chunk of cedar. You can see how thick it is. So this cedar I actually get to use probably 6 or 8 times before we have to change it out until it gets the really dark spots on the board. We'll continue to use it as we still get the flavors from the board until it gets really black. And I'm just winding back and forth. You don't need to tie it onto each nail. If you tie it onto each nail, then you have to then untie it from each nail. I found that is way too much work. So we're just going to wind it on there and that'll hold it. So we'll tie it at the beginning and we'll tie it onto the end. The fire that we're going to use is coal and some some briquettes and also some lump coal. So a simple knot at the end. The thing about doing salmon like this is you get to use it from end to end. We like to serve this right there on the cedar plank, put it right on a buffet table, and the visual and the aromas that you get from it coming right off of the grill are exceptional. Getting ready, putting our potlatch together. We have this amazing piece of equipment that has an area underneath where we can get charcoal and mesquite and chunks of wood and different things burning in there to give us different kinds of heat and different kinds of flavor. Here on the base of the grill we can do whole tenderloins, pork loins, shrimp. We've done Dungeness crab, all different kinds of stuff. And for right now, we're going to bring out some salmon. Some amazing pieces of first of the season Wild King salmon. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this salmon and we're going to hold up one of these. We'll lean it up against there. And this thing will slowly roast. Now, we can adjust the heat by putting chunks of lump coal in there to raise the heat. If we want to roast the salmon a little hotter, if we want to cool it down, we just don't use as much, we use a little more coal. And then we can adjust also how far away it goes from the inside to the outside. So what we typically do is have a real nice barbecue. We can kind of keep fresh food coming off this thing for the entire day.